I came out depressed and broke.
Oh my God. And back on mama's couch
on mama's couch and inside the WIC office getting food stamps.
Oh, that's real. Wow.
Yeah. And so but you know what? You have to do what you have to do. I do a lot of work now with some food pantries, and I tell people there is nothing shameful about getting help.
Welcome to The Dash. You know, The Dash is that tiny line between your life start date and end date. It's your story, the chapters in your book, your journey. Get ready for real conversations with real people telling real stories about the realities of failure, setbacks, and success. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. We're rolling. Let's go. The Dash in 3, 2, 1.
All right, so y'all, there are certain episodes of the Dash podcast that I get excited about because I get to invite my friends. Yeah, when I think about it, I have some really dope friends. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that.
Well, you guys know him on Instagram. Let me say 1.6 million followers and counting, as Kevin Curry. I don't even know, what is your title? Because like we know you as like this amazing chef, and now you started with like the fitness program. We're gonna talk about the thirst traps in a second, but no, we're getting into that.
Okay. You see how she would like throw it, jab it, and take it out? But don't you say nothing.
Okay, hold on. What is your title? You're a social media influencer, but it's not just that. Like you do a lot. You're like a health coach.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly haven't explored the title thing yet.
Yeah.
I just usually they just call me like the founder of Fit Men Cook, entrepreneur.
I'm gonna look up what your Instagram says. It says food, fitness, kicks, faith, mental. Oh my God, and we got to talk about your shoes too. There's so much we have to cram into this 30 minutes. First of all, Kevin, I love you to death. I think you are one of the most genuine people that I know. So thank you for taking the time to come here today. This is like a really, really big deal.
Thank you.
So for those that don't know Kevin Curry, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
My name is Kevin Curry, from Dallas, Texas, DeSoto actually, and I help people live healthier and happier lives through food. That's the main heritage. It's over the years, it has evolved into something else. It's evolved into a business. It's evolved into a global, like community. It's involved into products, and pretty soon it will be evolving into meals that you can get right inside your house.
That's amazing.
So a passion that started with actually, it wasn't even a passion that started it. It was my desperation to try to lose weight myself. And I was just trying to basically do like a side hustle, and the whole idea was I'm broke as a joke, don't have money to pay for a trainer, but let me go to social media and share out every single thing that I'm eating, so that way people out there that know what they're talking about will share back with me, and then all of a sudden I get free advice. It was a great side hustle, right?
Yeah.
That's where you can crowdsource your diet. And what I realized is that there are people out there just like me who want to eat better and feel better, and they don't want to be eating chicken breast, brown rice, and broccoli every single day.
Oh my gosh, that is so real. Because anytime I've gone to a nutritionist, they give me that, or possibly ground turkey.
Oh, ground turkey. And don't let it be the 99% ground turkey, because that's just like, ooh, it's like the popcorn ceiling stuff.
Okay, so you started on this journey because you wanted to lose weight. So did you know were you already cooking? You already enjoyed cooking before then?
No, I didn't. I went to Half Price Books and bought every single book there they had about nutrition and not about cooking. Because my whole idea was just to understand why certain people could lose weight and I couldn't. And they would always be talking about like proteins and carbs and fats. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
I know that I'm supposed to know, but I just don't know. And I went to this trainer on my Instagram, and he was this really big guy, huge following, and he was going to charge me almost like $1,000 for this 4-week program. And I'm thinking, man, you went to a great high school, DeSoto High School.
Yeah.
You can figure this out. So I went to Half Price Books and just began to read the stuff. And then I went into the kitchen and just began to take foods that I already eat, that I already like, back solve. And what that means is that I was just deconstructing them. I was take down all the ingredients. All right, how can I swap in other foods to make it healthier or more healthful for me? And that's how I learned how to do that. So it was a process. It wasn't just I've always been cooking. Now, the other part of that is that I've always struggled with like a mental health, and mental wellness. And at that time, I had graduated from grad school, The job market went to hell in a handbasket because the stock market crashed. I thought I was going to be getting married, and there was a bit of an issue there with trust. And so that was called off, and she was a Delta, by the way. Just kidding.
Okay,
just kidding. Not the fact that wasn't even germane. Get out here, devil. Get out right now.
Oh, it's the devil's name.
We bind you, devil.
Hold up, is the devil's name Jermaine? Did you name him? I cannot. Oh my gosh.
And so I found myself back on my parents' couch in DeSoto, Texas, trying to figure out my life. And so cooking, doing the different processes from start to finish, that made me feel good.
So what you said you graduated from college. What was the original plan? Like, what was your career supposed to be?
Yeah, so my original goal so I went to undergrad at Texas, and then I had this idea that I wanted to change the world, because for 2 years I was working in like consulting.
Okay.
And at the same time I was involved with my old high school, helping out first generation college students, or high school students, go to college. And I just realized that there's a lot of shared like skill sets between the public sector and the private sector. So let me go off to study that. So my goal was to come out and to really change the world. And I wanted to get into politics, perhaps not run for anything, but just get into government agencies and just really help people build organizations. And so I came out depressed and broke.
Oh my God! And back on mama's couch
on mama's couch and inside the WIC office getting food stamps.
Oh, that's real! Wow.
Yeah, and so but you know what? You have to do what you have to do. I do a lot of work now with some food pantries, and I tell people there is nothing shameful about getting help. There's a lot of dignity in that, and I think somewhere along the way in society we begin to look down on that, or we begin to question that. And it's not even just things like food stamps, it's just help in general. I'm strong enough to get through this. But there's dignity in actually getting help. And there's something special about it, because it gets you from where you are right now to where you're supposed to be.
Amen. That's good. That's really good, Kevin. So when did you know this was a thing on social media? Like, what was the moment that hit for you where you're like, I think I'm going to do this and not go into that other thing that I got my degree in? Yeah,
I had finally been able to get a job, and I was over at Dell, and I was their social media manager at the time. And this is around 2012. This was early on, so social media was still it wasn't the industry that it is right now.
Right.
And so I started blogging on the side because I was trying to, again, like lose weight and get some free advice. And I got this message from bodybuilding.com. Now, bodybuilding.com, to people today, it may seem like, well, what is that? But back then, it was top 100 websites in the world. Like, that was before Amazon. So people, whenever they wanted nutrition advice or fitness training, all of that stuff, the supplements, they would go there. And I got a message from them saying, can we hop on a call? We love your content.
Wow.
So I thought, okay, this is obviously spam or whatnot. So I didn't respond to it for like 2 weeks. And then I got a personal message on Facebook saying the same thing. And so I wrote back and I said, sure, we can hop on a call. Have no idea what this is. I'm thinking it's one of them sales calls, but I ain't got nothing to do. I ain't got nothing going on. Let me hop on the call. I did. And it was their entire editorial board.
What?
And they were like, our athletes love your stuff, and so do we. Can you come and write for us? And I said, do y'all know what I look like? 'Cause I don't look. I don't look like the fitness models, bro. I'm not like that. I just don't, I'd like to be, but I'm just not there yet. They're like, we just love like your approach. It's easy. It's helpful stuff, and it's very practical for people. So I think that was the first aha moment that I really had something, and that was pretty early on, because I didn't know that people were actually listening to me. And again, I was just coming out of that phase of let me do this for myself, and I just began to build like a community online of people who really wanted something more.
And your consistency is amazing. Let me tell you, I think that you have one of the most, I would like to say, colorful Instagram accounts, because when you go here, you see all the colors from the foods, and you make it fun. You truly, like, I ain't gonna lie, you be making me want to cook sometimes, and you know I do not cook.
You do not cook at all.
Look, and every time I'm like, okay, well, never mind. Like, I mean, this is just what he does naturally or whatever. And you've traveled the world doing this. You've done, I mean, like, you've really done some really, really amazing things. Now, I want to get on something serious in a second, but I do got to put you on blast.
Yeah. Oh, Lord, here we go.
You know, Kevin got all fine and stuff on social media. And let me tell you, Kevin, first of all, you are doing such a great job on your health journey. And I don't know it's a journey. I'm sure it goes up and down. But I'll be hitting Kevin up and being like, if you don't get some shorts that go below your knees, trying to show these little muscles that poke out right here. Stop showing out on this gram and thirst trap.
Well, first off,
I mean, everybody got to know
really
you know.
funny. That's really funny. And it's also funny. I mean, well, you would know.
You know, every once in a while
you would know how, you know, like a thirst trap. Oh, absolutely. Because I was like, is she even in radio anymore? Because every time I see, like, it's another photo shoot. Okay. And I even I texted you. I said, "Hey,
Kevin, this is
how do you get these so many?" And it'd be like the same outfit in 16 different poses. And then TikTok came along.
Kevin, this is not about me. This is about you.
Oh, no. But I'm just saying that, like, your word actually means something because you would know.
I told y'all this is my friend. I love him. You're so great. No, but it has literally been such a joy to watch you. And like I say, your consistency. I actually got a chance to come hang out with you one day and do a cooking thing.
Yes, right before COVID hit, and you were our favorite guest too.
And I know that was tough for you with the pivot of COVID.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that you're open about your mental health journey, in which you've actually been on social media as well. I want to touch on that a little bit because I think that people see you, Kevin, you're always smiling. You always seem to be in a good mood. Like I said, the colors from the food just put you in a certain mood. They make you feel a certain type of way. You have over 1 million followers on Instagram. Like, from the outside looking in, you are living the life. But the reality is that you're a human being.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that human side of you, because I'm sure that there are days that you don't want to make content. I'm sure there are days you don't want to record. I'm sure there are days that you're just like, why am I doing this? Even though everybody is liking, that is not what fulfills you.
Yeah. Well, when you put it that way, that's something that everybody can kind of understand. Like, you know, like you're in a job and you don't want to go in and you don't feel like doing stuff. And why are you doing what you're doing? I think it's a question, you know, that I don't think that we ever really fully answer. Because even someone who's really passionate about their career and passionate about like what they do, they may have those moments. And so it's really important to always remind yourself of the reason why you're doing something. And that's what I do. So I do take that time. I don't do that as often as I should, to be quite honest with you, to just remind myself of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And for me, it's when people email me and say that they are losing weight, or they're able to get their kids to eat vegetables now, or their husband is down the weight, or their parents have lost weight. Those are the things that actually help me out in those moments where I think that what I don't do does matter. Wait, you got what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know, I'm glad you said that, because I think that a lot of times you have a lot of supporters. They probably think you don't read those things. They probably think it does not matter. He has all these followers. My email is not going to make a difference. And for you to say that says something about your character. Yeah.
I'm not able to respond to every single one. I don't have the energy. And it's not because I get so much, but it's just that emotionally, you know, it's just it's just a lot, you know? And so, but your word matters. And so one thing that I have put into my own personal practice, and this sounds mad granola, maybe even a little white, but practicing gratitude on a daily basis has fundamentally, and giving people grace has literally transformed my life over the past 2 years. I'm able to look at life much better. I'm able to give people the chance, you know, and the benefit of the doubt. I'm able to really see people through what I think are God's eyes, even whenever they may do something that's just ridiculous. I feel like, but giving people grace has given me a lot of peace. Like, sometimes, for instance, someone does something for you, to you, and it was probably, like a terrible thing, right? What goes through my mind oftentimes now is like, once that happens, I'll immediately be like, well, they did this and da-da-da-da, and yada, yada. Now, my second thought is, well, Kevin, what if they were doing this because X, Y, Z, or they didn't know, so they did this action, et cetera, et cetera. And I go down that path more so now. I don't always just settle on that one thought. So I'm able to think again, and that, from a mental health standpoint, has helped me out a whole lot. And it's not like I'm trying to try to solve the problem for everybody else or try to figure people out. It's much more like, how do I feel about it? How do I choose to feel about that? Now, granted, people still get on my nerves, and don't let the voice fool you. You can get the smoke.
That's right.
But, now I'm much more tempered and strategic about that. And that's helped me out a lot, like, mentally.
How do you give yourself grace?
It's such an interesting question. I give myself grace by encouraging myself and not allowing myself to wallow in moments where I feel like I missed the mark. So let's just take this in the instance of food, since I deal with that oftentimes with people. If I got this really tight fitness goal or whatnot, or I'm trying to get my body a certain way and I go off my diet, a lot of times you're just like, why'd you do that? Oh my gosh. See, this is exactly why this happens, and this is why people ain't gonna listen to you, and da-da-da. Now the voice in my head goes more like, whoo, Kevin, you missed the mark on that one, but it sure was good, wasn't it? All right, let's get back on track and just keep on going. It also sounds like, Kev, you have like what it takes to succeed. You got this. God loves you. I love you. And that's important. One thing that I have people that I work with do, and it's not often, but sometimes I have a little bit of bandwidth to work with some people like offline, is I work with them with the voice in their head. And 9 times out of 10, literally, whether it's a man or woman, this is always the breaking point for them, because we don't hear ourselves speak well to ourselves often. We've been conditioned to talk negatively and be like, come on, punk, you got this, get up and do this, and stop being such a pussy and all this type of stuff. That's what we lean into, and we think that's a good motivator. But how many times have you heard yourself say, hey, you know what, I'm so proud of you. You got it going on. I love you. And when I have them do that exercise, and I'll have them stand in front of a mirror and say, first off, if they're a believer, I say, God, I know that you love me, and I want you to say that. And I want you to say it until you feel it. And I'm talking about just the waterworks just begin to come.
Sure.
Now, tell yourself something good about yourself. Say it right now. And it's so hard.
It is.
It's so hard. But that right there is how I'm able to give myself grace, and be my own encourager. One thing that Bishop Jake said a long time ago, this is a long time ago, that stuck with me for decades now. He says, sometimes you got to go into the prayer closet and lay hands on yourself and declare your own self healed. And what that means is you got to be your own cheerleader. You got to be the one to be like, come on, let's do it. You got this. You got what it takes. You got to be the one. So if there's nobody else, if nobody likes your post, if nobody shows up to your grand opening, if nobody comes in supports you the way that you would like them to, what does that voice in your head sound like? What is that? And so when we look at some of these celebrities who are standouts, these people who have had this amazing success, I can guarantee you that their voice in their head sounds a lot like that. You can't really, I don't really like a lot of Kanye's politics and his antics, but I bet the voice in his head really pumps him up. I bet the Cardi B is just like, you got it. I don't care what people say. And then you got to be that person for you.
That's really good, Kevin. That's really excellent. Affirming yourself. And I love the practice of standing in front of a mirror and having to literally look at yourself. Because it is boy, let me tell you, you can look at other people and say whatever you want, but when you have to look at your own self, that right there is that defining moment. I love that. You were bringing up, you meant, there's a phrase you mentioned, you said missing the mark.
Yeah.
I don't think that people understand the pressure of an influencer, because your life is literally built in front of people. This platform that you have is very public. And you are human, so you are usually comparing today's posts from yesterday's posts and how this one did, and there's all these trends, and it's all this, why didn't people like it, and what's going on, and why are my numbers falling, and why are they going back up? Is it me, or people not? I mean, there's a lot of self-talk that goes on where I'm sure that has to be a tough space to be. Can we talk about the pressures of being an influencer? Because I think it's everybody's goal. Everybody wants to be an influencer, but it ain't easy.
No, it's not easy. And I would actually discourage it, to be quite honest with you. Like, I'm trying to commercialize my brand as much as possible, so that way the income that I do have from being in social would be negligible. And I may take that Jay-Z Beyonce route, and y'all see me when I got a product drop. But yeah, it's very demanding, and you've got to be able to set boundaries with yourself about like when you're going to be doing stuff, when you're going to be posting, and what parts of your life that you want exposed. Yes, it is very financially rewarding. It can be. But there's a lot of pressure that comes into that too. And I've been doing this now for about 10 years. And what I have seen, I've seen a lot of people start, and I've seen a lot of people not finish. And I think that's fine too. I think you can choose yourself with that. So one thing, I guess my bit of advice for anyone who is trying to, like go out there from a mental wellness standpoint, you need just to make sure that you like what you're doing. And if you start with the pure intentions like that, with just like, I just like posting this just because it's fun, then I think that's easier because then you won't really get caught up in the engagement piece right away. Yes, that part does matter, and you'll learn about that like over time. But you got to go to it from a place of like authenticity. And like, I really want to get this out. And if you start with that as your basis, like and it could be something like, hey, I'm married and we want to show our love to people. Great. Go ahead and do that. But just know that it's not easy, and it can be strained. I think maybe even, for you, the same that can be said. What really frustrates me is that I feel largely misunderstood.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
I think people see glimpses of me, and it's the stuff that I share, of course.
Yeah.
But when that stuff kind of bleeds into your personal relationships, I think that's the part that's hard. Like, I've had, I'm not married, and I remember one time I was dating this chick, and she was out of L.A., and I had just come from there, and we had just been together too. And I posted this photo, this throwback photo of me in LA, doing something, and, and I got a nasty text talking about, so you were just kind of come here and not even say anything and blah, blah, blah. And it was just this whole like narrative. And I just responded, because it's actually in the photo too. It says TBT.
We don't read the captions.
Yeah, people, but that's why. That's why you can feel like misunderstood. In my last relationship, I went. She treated me well. I treated myself actually now. I pay for it, but I went to Salt Bay's restaurant to celebrate. We didn't know it was so expensive, so we ended up spending a whole lot of money. It was fun. It was a good moment, and people were just, I can't believe that you would eat there and support this man who does this and this and this and this, and we're gonna boycott you. And my thing was, first off, that
was one of those laughs like, you about to get the smoke.
Yeah, and I think that people need to appreciate that if we respond in kind the way that y'all respond to us, it's going to be something different, because when I say something, the whole world is going to see it.
Yeah.
When you say something, just you and your friends see it.
Yep. It's so true.
So I'm giving you some grace, right? And I had to respond to this lady and just said, you can tell so much from a photo and so very little.
That's so good.
I know nothing about this man.
But I think it's important for everybody's on social media, just for people to understand that the people that you are judging, the people that you are picking at, the people that you are wanting to have an opinion about their life all the time are humans.
They're real.
And they may have this platform where they stand for this, but we are all double-sided, right? We are not one-dimensional. We are multifaceted people.
Yeah.
And so the thing is that, hypothetically speaking, you do food and you do health. But if I want to go over here and stuff my face with the most unhealthy burger, then I should be able to. Because don't put me in a box and expect perfection from me. And that is, I think, a lot of times when people are paying attention to social media and influencers, I already know. I can only imagine there are times where you're like, I want to shut it down. I want to run away. But you can never escape, because your life,
and my income.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? It's based on this thing that even TV stars, you cut off the TV. Even movie stars, you're not watching the movie. A social media influencer, I can literally stalk your life 24 hours a day, because I'm never going to leave the house without my phone.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're always up under the constant scrutiny of people. And one thing that I've done, I'm not sure if you've done this too, but you know how like there'll be all those like gossip blogs or posts on things with like celebrities, and sometimes it's really funny and salacious, and I don't even comment on those things anymore. I don't even follow the Shade Room. I've stopped following them maybe like 2 years ago, and I thought it got a little bit too negative. But one thing that I have not been doing is that like I don't go in and comment negative things, even if they did something crazy. Or what I believe is crazy, because I always have to stop myself. I'm like, how would you feel, or how do you feel when people say things about you publicly?
Good, Kevin.
So I always stop myself now and be like, and you know what? My opinion didn't really matter. But what's happened is that people try to become social media influencers in the comment section. And all of a sudden, they're like a comment king and yada, yada. And I remember, and I hope this doesn't embarrass you, but there was a comment, like somebody had asked a question on like, you know, like your post. And it was a really ambiguous tone of a question. And you responded to it in a much more like matter of fact, ain't no love in this, but I'm just going to tell you this. And somebody said, oh my God, she's just so extra, and that was rude, and blah, blah, blah. And I started to type a response to them like, she didn't start out this way. So my point in sharing that is like, you did nothing wrong with that. But what people don't see is that she's a real person, and she is constantly bombarded by people who are trying to become the next famous star by saying something crazy and stupid in your comment section. So that joke is at her expense, and you're trying to become famous off of that. Yeah. So after a while, you know, this is why you say people never respond to comments, because you just never know. Space. It's a safer space just if you don't even respond like at all. Yeah. And even when I hear comments about, well, oh man, like that celebrity was hard to work with, or they're really mean. And I always tell people, I bet they didn't start out that way.
That's good. That's really good. I got to ask you, Kevin, you mentioned products.
Yeah. Ooh,
look,
yeah.
You got some really amazing things going on. First of all, I want you to know that every time I'm in the gym, I'm like, does he have a deal with Planet Fitness? Because you are always on the Planet Fitness screen. I'm like, what is really going on? Like, I know. Look, I know him. But you have a lot of amazing things. So let's go down the list of some of the really dope stuff that you're working on, because this goes past just social media and you cooking online.
Yeah. One thing that I'm really proud about is my, is a spice line. It does very well. I wanted to do better, of course. And so I've got big dreams to grow that, but it's really important to me, especially, to the Black community just because we love flavoring, and and we love flavor, but oftentimes the spices that we have grown up using got a whole lot of salt and things like that. And so these are fresh spices, low sodium, so you can be heavy-handed the way that Big Mama is.
Okay.
But without all the sodium, and then you can just season to taste with the salt and pepper.
And they are amazing because I use them at my house. I'll be like, let me sprinkle a little Kevin on here real fast.
Everyone needs a little curry in their life.
I like
you
that.
You get that later. And then just got into cookware. I got a
and this is no like lightweight cookware. This is like top of the line, heavy duty, sturdy. Like who are these other cooks that like this is the stuff that we need to be buying, right?
Yeah, it's a carbon steel skillet. It's enameled, so that's also not common. But we wanted to make sure that people have a good experience, with the cookware. It cooks just like cast iron, but it's a lot lighter. So, sometimes you put the stuff in the cast iron, it's like 15 pounds. And this one is lighter, but it cooks and sears very, very well. Also have a salt cellar and some lunch boxes. And today I was just meeting, we are prayerfully about to kick off meals nationwide at the top of the year. And that's what I'm most passionate about, because now I get to actually feed people. And there's a lot of cookware that's coming and other products. And that's the heritage of the brand, teaching people how to cook well and in more healthful ways. But I've always wanted to get to feed people. Like, that's where my passion is. I love feeding people. You come to my house, I don't care if it's a bag of chips. I'm going to put on a nice little paper plate because I don't like to do dishes.
Okay, hello, I'm with you on that.
It'll be a nice paper plate, though. It'll be the recycled kind, and I just love, to feed people. So the idea that I can do that at the top of the year is very exciting to me.
That is exciting. Yeah. Congratulations.
Appreciate that.
Okay, so there's somebody watching right now that is like, they either want to be, I'm not even going to go the influencer route because you already told them not to be one. No, I'm just joking. But maybe they have an idea. They have a creation. They have a product that they want to launch. What does that look like? What are the steps that they need to take in order to create, there's a process. Obviously, you can't give the entire process, but to kind of bring that to fruition, to get it out of their mind and actually make it into a tangible thing.
Start doing it first off.
Okay.
So I think that we get caught up in the ideation phase too much and kind of talking about the idea, but it's in the doing that stuff is kind of made plain and you figure stuff out. Okay. So let's say if it's a spice that you really like, well, make your own spice blend right now and get close to it. And then just if you want to begin to sell that, you can go to, I was just talking to my brother today. He's over Havoc Sports, and they have like football games every Saturday. Put up a little booth out there and begin to sell it. You can go to a farmer's market and begin to sell your own stuff. You can go down to the city of Dallas and fill out a permit. I think it's around a couple dollars. Get your permit and you just start selling it. So it's in the doing of things that stuff is actually made clear. And then all of a sudden someone will say, hey, you know what, you should get this co-pack. Well, what's that? Then you go on to Google and you research co-packers and whatnot. And then, you find out the company can actually make these spices for you. All right, you need a business loan. All right, well, let's start. Then you go to the bank. And you start that process. If you want to do something else, in terms of raising money, then you Google that. But in those instances, what's going to help you out to get that money is you can go to them and say, I've been selling this out of the trunk of my car, and I've done this just with my own.
That's good.
Imagine what I could do with just a little bit of more money. Here's my vision for this right now, and here's how you grow it. But it's in the doing. We gotta do stuff. We have to do stuff. And let me just say this too: if there's somebody in your life that's starting up a business, and you know them and they're on social media, be kind to them. Not just in what you say and your actions, but also just support them. Even if you don't, even if you don't cook, like Lady Jade, she don't cook at all.
Wait, this is not about me.
But
no, I'm just kidding, but
you be like really supporting me and publicizing the brand. You've had me on the radio show too. And she didn't even cook, but it's about like supporting people that you know who are doing some great stuff, right? So support your friends, support your family in that, because it's very hard and it's very lonely, and it's also a very insecure place, because sometimes you just don't know, is this a good idea or is this a bad idea? And you could be the difference between that person continuing on or stopping. So
that's so good, Kevin. That really, you know what you've done today, and I appreciate it. You have humanized this life that everybody covets. Everybody wants to be a star. And everybody thinks that social media is the way. And for some people it is, and that's fine, right? But you have literally shown us the other side. How many teenagers, how many young adults, honestly, how many grown folks are out here looking for another follow, trying to get more likes, thinking that this is their path, but nobody hears both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
Some people out here trying to build a business, and their family does not realize how unsupportive they may be being just by the words that they're saying, just by the looks. You know, I think the $1 million picture is, I'm going blank on his name, Amazon owner.
Jeff Bezos?
Jeff Bezos sitting at that desk.
Go say it with that.
Yeah, and of course I do understand that his parents gave him whatever, but it's still that picture of sitting at a desk that now you have grown into, if not the wealthiest man in the world, but you were sitting at a desk with an idea and you started selling books. How many people probably were like, really?
Yeah, I remember when the idea of Amazon first came up, and everyone was like, no, I'm just going to go to Walmart. No, I'm just going to keep on doing this.
It didn't make sense.
It didn't make sense.
But then you just got to keep going. I'm sure when you first said, I'm going to do spices, you were probably thinking, well, why would they pick mine? There's this spice and that spice and all these other things that people prefer. But you did it. And and so I just want to say I'm proud of you, because you're doing what a lot of people are afraid to do. You just did it. And whether it failed, whether it didn't go as you planned, whether you wanted to be doing better, it will. You said it.
I received that. Thank you.
In the doing.
It's in the doing.
So just keep doing.
Yeah.
So you today, I mean, I really appreciate it, because I think you've shed a light on a mentally on something that we often don't think about, because we look at people like you and we're like, oh my God, look at him. He looks so happy. But a lot of people don't realize when you turn off that button, and this is me too, after we finish dancing and doing all this, we're in our room balled up crying and feeling less than and worrying and not feeling like ourselves, not understanding why we don't, and all of these things. And mental health is very important. And the fact that you're willing to speak about it openly, it's amazing.
Thank you. Can I say something about that?
Yeah.
Because I want to add some clarity, some color on that, just from my perspective. I remember somebody said this. They were living with HIV, and people with HIV/AIDS, they take a lot of drugs, to be well. And in a conversation with this person, they said, yeah, you know what? I'm pretty healthy. Actually, the doctor said that I'm pretty healthy, except for the AIDS.
Wow.
And so it's funny how you think that one thing can color something else, right? So what I'll say about me, I think of myself in that same way. When people say, oh my God, like you look so happy, why are you depressed? Well, I am happy. I'm a happy person. I love to joke around. I love to be sarcastic. I love all those things. But I also struggle with depression. Exactly. So I'm fine, save for the depression. Now, some people can look at depression and it's very like circumstantial, like their goldfish died. They had a breakup. Those things, someone passed away. When you take that out of the equation, some of that pain goes away and they're able to kind of bounce back. Other people like me, it doesn't really matter the circumstance. It could, like, everything could be fine and going very well, but it's just something that you have to deal with. And I have learned that acceptance is really big, that you got to accept that you may need some more help, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I want to take this opportunity to say this, especially here, because I think that, we may have a majority like Black audience. And in the Black community, we raise a lot in the faith-based. And some things you just can't pray away like that. And you're not really supposed to really be praying like that, because I feel like whenever you do that, pray, you know, God, heal me, help me out. And there's a therapist there and you don't take that. We're like, well, what if that was your answered prayer? What if that was your way out to go ahead and to be able to cope with that? And there are a lot of people who do amazing things that struggle with depression and bipolar disorder. I'm one of them. But I had to get to a point where I had to accept that it's okay not to be okay. I don't want to be here, you know, in this place, but how can I cope with it? So therapy, medication, those things are actually good things. Taking a break. I think oftentimes people, in my experience, feel like sometimes people misdiagnose depression when that can just be cleared up by them just saying no to things. Stop going to each and everything and being involved in all this stuff and loading up your plate, and all of a sudden, I'm so stressed out, I'm anxious and depressed. I'm just like, well, hell yeah, you don't got time for your stuff. You don't have time for your thoughts and whatnot.
True.
So you can't do everything. And this is particularly common among people who are in social media. So with a grain of salt, pace yourself.
Kevin, thank you.
Thanks,
That's
man.
all I can say is thank you. I look, I do want people to go follow you though, because you know he may sneak on them little bitty shorts and a tank top and bless you, and you get to see the cookies. No, I'm just joking. But you are such a joy, and you are like, you are fun to watch on social media. Listen to him. How can people go follow you? I'm telling you, ladies.
They can follow me at Fit Men Cook anywhere on
He's gonna remember this. Look, the next time that he wants to post and he's like doing his jumping jacks, he's gonna be like, Jade is gonna be watching this.
And I want y'all to know just how shady Jade is. The moment I posted that, I'm talking about she was in my... Oh, okay. These thirst traps and these little bitty shorts.
But can I be honest? I wasn't even mad. Y'all go follow him, y'all. This is Kevin Curry at Fit Men Cook. Go support, go love. And if you don't have anything nice to say to people on social media, just don't say it at all.
Keep scrolling.
Or unfollow, okay? It's real easy. Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate you. Thanks for the support. Make sure you subscribe to the Dash Podcast YouTube channel. Also, we're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. And feel free to share with some family and friends. Thanks, guys.